This is Germany today. It has freedom, it has prosperity, it has a past, a dark and brutal past that still throws its shadow across the land.
Unser Führer, Adolf Hitler, dich! Und nun ein Wahnsinniger oder ein bewusster Lügner kann denken, dass ich oder irgendjemand jemals die Absicht hätten.
By the end of 1933, Adolf Hitler had seized complete control of Germany. He was telling Germans of a new order and what was wrong with the old. He asked the question and he answered the question. Who is responsible for all the misfortunes that fell upon us in 1918? For all the misfortunes which plagued Germany in the years that followed? Who? The democratic Marxist Jew. In 1933, there was a boycott of Jewish business. In 1935, Jews were deprived of German citizenship.
From the first, that was difficult for us because we can't go in restaurants or in moving pictures or theater and so on because it was a bad feeling for us. The Nazis didn't like to see Jewish people in that kind of locals.
Began the Jewish pogroms and the arrest of entire Jewish families.
My parents and my first wife and myself coming in the concentration camp. I was in 3 concentration camps, in Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen, and I coming alone back.
The Nazis had murdered 6 million Jews.
I'm a Jew. For me, it's every German responsible, if he is in the East and the West. I don't trust any one of those.
Yet today, some Jews still live in Germany. Throughout the larger cities, there are new Jewish community centers, new synagogues, new hospitals. But are these imposing buildings really indicative of Jewish life? What is it really like for the survivors of Nazism living in Germany today? This is the subject of our report. This is a Jewish congregation in Berlin holding Rosh Hashanah services, the Jewish New Year. Today there is complete freedom of religion in West Germany, but there are only 7 rabbis to minister to a community of 35,000. This congregation has no permanent rabbi. The rabbi conducting the service fled Germany in 1939. He now lives in England. He returns once a year to help this congregation observe the high holidays, and then he goes back to England. Germany today is enjoying an unprecedented prosperity. The Jews, along with the rest of the community, are doing well economically. This is Abby. He lives with his mother and father in a southern German city. Abby's family lives comfortably in a large apartment. They have TV, a car, a full-time maid. The previous maid, according to Abby's mother, quit because her boyfriend didn't want her working for Jews. Abby's father is a furrier. Abby is 13. He recently celebrated his bar mitzvah.
Well, my bar mitzvah has been on the 1st of July this year. It has been in the Bayernhalle here in Munich. There have been about 150 people there, and it was quite nice. I think so. In the beginning, from about 5 o'clock until 8 o'clock, it has been in a garden. It was like a cocktail party. And in the evening, it would have been in the hall. My father held a speech, and I made a speech, too.
Abby's mother belongs to a Jewish social club, which meets every Sunday.
Well, it's like kind of a get-together here, you know. Play little cards, talk a little, and once in a while we have films from Israel, you know, newsreels kind.
Most of the members are not originally from Germany, but are from Poland and Eastern Europe. Over half the Jews living in Germany today are Polish or Eastern European. They remember a Poland overrun by Hitler. They remember the Warsaw Ghetto. On October 16th, 1940, the Nazis, by decree, set up the boundaries of the Warsaw Ghetto. Within a few square miles, 500,000 Jews were herded together. Late in 1941, a high wall of brick and barbed wire was erected to make the imprisonment complete. By 1943, only a few hundred had survived, the rest murdered. Of the 3 million Jews in all of Poland, only 250,000 survived the Nazis. When the communists erected another wall, most of these survivors fled. Some settled in Germany.
Wenn ich bin ich gerecht, ist es stehne dich, wenn du weine, wo es hat für mir was reiß, ist du mitgereit mich aufzuhüten, für alle diese Beis. Ihr werdet mich verstehen, ihr weißt, wem ich mein, und ihr meine Mama, Afriedene ist meine Mama. Als ein zufriedenes Dach, sich has es riert die Schiene, auf ihr jeder zarte Miene, wenn sie davend für ihr Kiene. Und meine Mama, denn ich du hast auch so wie meine Mama, Oi siete nicht kein Säune, jeden weitig, versteht sie, wenn es nötig, verseht sie Gott, soll Menschen meine Mame knew, meine Mame knew.
This club is their main social contact with other Jews. Most of them have lost all their families and now live alone. We asked one of the club members if there was much anti-Semitism in Germany today.
Well, I would say there is anti-Semitism. I don't feel it. You can't see it. I mean, you can't feel it actually, but there is. You know, once you know the mentality of these people, you know that there is. Well, I think they're making progress, but I don't trust them, you see. Maybe I feel different than some other people do because during the war, I was in a concentration camp, and I know them. Maybe I don't trust them, you see.
I believe that you won't only see here in our club that when we sing, when we dance, when we laugh, that nobody sees us when we cry.
We asked Abby's mother if she planned to continue staying in Germany.
I was in 7 concentration camps, and I lost all, and I am ill, and I'm not very healthy. I can't work so much, and therefore I didn't went to Palestine, to Israel, and therefore I'll stay here. I hope not to die here.
Israel is the hope for all Jews in the world.
Israel plays an important part in the life of German Jewry. It supplies rabbis and teachers, but most of all, it has given the Jews hope and pride.
Yeah, years ago, I asked a friend who was a Zionist and pro-Israel, why are you pro-Israel? So he said to me, 3 years ago, when a man called me Jew, there was offense. Now, when he calls me Jew, I say, yes, of course, I thank you.
I went to Israel in the year of 1938 when Hitler was coming here. I have had their kosher restaurant and have worked very hard, daily about 16 hours. And I was a little bit ill from that climate. I like Israel very, very much, but I have to work very hard there. And now in the year of 1957, I come back to Berlin, and I'm working like a secretary in the Jewish community here.
This is the Jewish Community Center where this woman works. It serves as a Hebrew school, meeting place, synagogue, and is used by Jews and Christians alike. This is Heinz Galinsky, chairman of the Jewish Community Center of Berlin.
On this place stood formerly a synagogue, Fasanenstraße. This synagogue was the biggest in Germany, and she was destroyed 1938 in the Crystal Night.
Crystal Night. On November 11, 1938 in Berlin, Jewish shops, places of business, even synagogues were sacked and burned by stormtroopers. Jews were arrested. A fine of 1 billion marks was imposed upon the Jews. Today, the West German government has paid out over $1 billion to victims of Nazi persecution. This community center was rebuilt largely with these funds.
We see here the entrance from the destroyed synagogue, and we see there the big pillar from the formerly synagogue Fasanenstraße. The inscription on the pillar out the old Bible, liebe deine Nächsten wie dich selbst, or in English, you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
This is the only Jewish newspaper in West Germany. It is published by Mr. Marx and his wife. His wife translated his comments.
In '46, I founded this newspaper as a small Jewish community bulletin. And already in '47 and '48 and '49, I started to export my paper to various countries abroad. My paper, I publish in my paper every kind of Jewish news, political and cultural.
Meine Frau kam mit mir aus England hierher, in der Absicht, den überlebenden Juden zu helfen, eine neue Heimat zu finden. Den Juden zu helfen, die in den DP-Lagern untergebracht waren.
My wife returned together with me to Germany in order to help the survivors of the Jewish tragedy who had been liberated in the concentration camps in Germany. And we wanted to try to do our best to help those sick and poor survivors at the time.
This is the Dachau concentration camp as it is today. It has been left standing as a memorial to the victims of Nazism, as a reminder of the incredible past. We asked a number of Germans about this past. A young German speaks.
The young generation is not able to understand at all why it ever came about, how it came about, and after it came about, why people did not react against it. It's something which we constantly would question our parents, and where we don't get a precise answer and a very unsatisfying answer. The answer would normally be, we don't know about it, we didn't know about it during the time it happened, which is somehow unbelievable to us, simply because, as you know, there were roughly about 6 million Jews killed in the concentration camps, and therefore it's hard to believe that nobody knew about it.
I think that all of Germany is under a cloud. I mean, being German, I mean, you wouldn't feel this, but as soon as I leave Germany, Austria somehow doesn't count, but as soon as I'm in Italy or France, you know, I feel as though there's a great weight lifted off me. There is a terrible weight on people here.
As one German feels a terrible weight, another senses a vacuum in German life.
Well, I think Jews in Germany always had a great effect in culture. The Jewish culture always has been very close connected with so-called German culture. And it was a real good exchange. Now, since this one part is completely cut off, it's dead, either dead or thrown out of the country. We only live on one leg, so to speak. We walk on one leg, there is nothing creative. We can't walk fast. Well, I only hope that we will have more Jews and more and more and more in Germany.
Not all Germans share this man's enthusiasm for the Jews.
The money is the first thing in the life of the Jew, and it is before the time from Hitler so, and it is now yet in 1961 also so. The Jew looked also, where is money, where's money, where's money? And that's not good.
The Jewish community is beset with many problems. Too few in numbers to keep up an active community life, top-heavy with older people, lack of trained leaders, but most of all, there is a deep bitterness and mistrust of their Christian neighbors.
I have no connection with the Christian people, yes? But I think we cannot see in their heart. They are very friendly with us. but how I say, we cannot see in the heart.
In spite of all its problems, the Jewish community is growing. In 1945, there were 15,000 Jews in Germany. Today there are 35,000. And some children are being raised here. This is a Hebrew class conducted twice a week after regular school. Opinion is divided as to whether these children will remain in Germany.
Many of them are going to Israel to stay there, and some of them stay here with their parents, but I don't think they like, for the future, they like to settle here.
But we have the fact that Jewish children born in the United States or in Latin America or in South Africa or in England are back in Germany. They speak German with the proper dialect of the city where they live. They go to German schools and they feel well.
Na, wer möchte sagen, Esther, sag mal, Chanukka, wer weiß, was das bedeutet? Was ist das? Lahadlik ner shel Chanukka. Was ist das? Ein Teil aus der Bruche. Gut, ein Teil aus der Bruche. Welche Bruche? Welche Bracha? Über Chanukka. Wann benutzt man denn diese? Wann sagt man denn das? Und die Kerzen anzulegen. Wer kann mir sagen, wie man die ganze Bracha nennt? Esther. Lahadlik ner shel Chanukka.
Do not know what the future is for the Jewish community in Germany.
On April 29th, 1945, at 4 o'clock in the morning, Hitler dictated his last will and testament. It ended with the phrase, "Above all, I enjoin the leadership of the nation and its followers strictly to uphold the racial laws and mercilessly to resist the world poisoner of all nations, international Jewdom." The next day he killed himself. Hitler boasted the Third Reich would last 1,000 years. It lasted 12. And 16 years after its death, the Jewish community of Germany was quietly ushering in the Jewish New Year of 5,722. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Praised be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever. And the rabbis wish for the new year.
Shalom, peace, peace, not only for us, for the whole world, for humanity, peace.
Svarim. Svarim teruah. Teki.